Hello beauties, welcome back to my channel Cyrus Creations, and I trust God you all are doing great. Today I'm here with another sewing project. Before that, if you see, I am wearing this beautifully hand embroidered red dress as well, which is made by my mom. She's super intelligent. Her hands are so blessed with the embroidery and so many other tips and techniques. So our today video shout out going to go to my mom. Mom, I love you so much and thank you so much for all your wonderful gifts. So our today project, we are going to alter this beautifully prom dress. This dress is made out of two different fabrics. The bottom lining is made of a stretchy net fabric and the front top fabric is the velvet patches net fabric. This project definitely have needed special tips and techniques to do hemming or alteration because net fabric is hard to work, so you have to pay attention to each little detail which I am going to show with you in our today video. Especially if you are beginner and you are new to your sewing machine, you're gonna learn here a lot today. So let's go ahead and start it our today project. So here's our another prom dress. You can tell it's gorgeous, but our today fabrics are net fabric, you can see, and also we have a stretchy fabric lining on the bottom. Okay, so our today technique, which I am going to show you how to hem these two fabrics. The technique is same for the measurements. You just have to take from waistband to till the length area and then add 1 inch extra fabric for cutting so you can have your seam allowance. Okay, if you notice here, this bottom area didn't have any hemming. It's because this print, this velvet print is a thicker, which making this, you know, the bottom area a little heavy. But once we're gonna remove this bottom fabric, because we need to have a, you know, perfect length, then it's going to get more lighter. That's mean we have to have something, a hemming fold fabric, you know, so that make a little bit heavy, so our fabric don't get too lighter and they stay on the ground. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how the lining look like on a bottom. So this lining have a two slits on the side at front. Okay, so as you can see, I have a pin up the centerpiece of lining. So we're gonna follow the same length and measurements, and we're just gonna follow around all the length. Okay, my habit is if I have to do any hemming, first I want to get done with lining and then I will get done with the other actual fabric, because lining is always little upper than the actual fabric hem, so that will help you to, you know, lining not to be in your way when you're measuring up you know, the actual fabric cutting and stitching. Okay, I hope that little tip makes some sense. So the first of all, we're gonna get done with our lining and then we're gonna work on our actual fabric. So I am just going to mark our whole lining to this dot. Okay, full length we're gonna take measurement, then another line which I gonna add 1 full inch, which will give us a seam allowance. So I'm just going to take a measurements and cut our fabrics, and then I will be back to show you step by step how we're gonna hem these two fabrics. Okay, so if you notice this patch, I have a folded. That's how actual hem I needed. So if you see the measurements, it's almost 4 full inches. Okay, fold. So that's mean I will make my first mark 4 full inches and the other mark 3 full inches. So the 3 full inches we will cut, and the 1 extra inch, that will be our seam allowance for hemming. Okay, so the simply I'm just going to take off those pins, because now I know what I have to do. And make sure you're marking on a wrong side, not the right side. And please never ever use a rotary cutter on these pretty dresses, especially when you are new. And also, I always avoid to use a rotary cutters on these dresses because these are very special dresses and you don't want your rotary cutter do anywhere else by accident. Okay, so the scissors are the great options. And then the other line we are marking 3 inch. As you can see, we have a 2 lines. So the one of line 3 inches one, we actually going to cut it, and then we will left with the 1 full inch. All right, and I'm going to use exactly same process with the other leftover lining fabric, and then we will start stitching our lining. Okay, so the next step is I simply just going to iron this one fold. Okay, so you see the line, the mark here, we're just going to fold on top of this our lining mark, iron it. This will help you to have a very crispy, the straight line. And then we will make inside another fold, and then we will sew on top of each other. Okay, so if I show you that this third stitch I had did a straight stitch, and it's worked perfectly with this fabric, so that's mean I no need to change my needle into the double twin needle. So but if you want to learn how twin needle work, I already have teach on my channel. I can put link in a description box so you can check out that video as well. So the simply we're just gonna do a straight stitch, and then we will make another half quarter inch straight stitch. So that's how we're gonna get the double stitch on both sides. See if I show you this hem, we had did one stitch, and now we're gonna go around the edge and make one more stitch, and that's how we will have a double stitch hem without using a twin needle. So let's finish the other one. And as you can see, we have just finished the hemming on our lining, and it's look pretty neat. I'm gonna do the rest of other side as well, and once I have finished the lining hemming, then we will start working on the knit fabric, front fabric. So here is our actual fabric for hemming, and because it's a net fabric, so that could be a little tricky, so you have to pay attention. So we had a lot of painted border, velvet painted border on a bottom, which making this hem little bit heavy. But if you are cutting out this heavy part, then that means you have to have some steadiness on a bottom, so your full, the fabric could be more steady when you're wearing your dress. Okay, so this area upper, the painted part is lighter. That doesn't make much sense. Okay, so we are going to take our actual measurements where our painted started. So you can see this paint have a little zigzag, the upper and down, upper and down. So we are taking a upper border measurement till the fold we have. So if I place my measuring tape to the upper border to the fold, so I have total 6.5 inches. That's what my measurements are, 6.5. So if I wanted to have a hemming on a bottom, so that's mean I have to I have to increase 1 full inch more, okay? So our total measurements are here 6.5. That should be our one of prepared line when I am going to hem my fabric. But because we need a seam allowance, so we're gonna add 1 inch extra fabric for fold seam allowance for hem. So that's mean now I need 5.5 inches. Okay, so we will take all full measurements 5.5 inches. Okay, we are going to take two lines, one 5.5 inches and other one 6.5 inches, one for cut and other one for fold to hemming. So I just gonna make a tailor chalk lines and then I will be back when it's a cutting process. Okay, so here is our fabric lining up, and if you remember the measurements, we have needed two lines, 5.5 inches and 6.5 inches. So I have this ruler here which is exactly 6.5 inches measurement wider. So I'm just going to place this. First we're gonna draw our line 6.5 inches, and if you remember, we had take measurement through our this border, not the fabric, the netting fabric, but through the border, which make things more easy for us. Okay, so simply we are just going to place our ruler. It's going to give us exactly. So our first line, we just have did it. So if you want to save your time, okay, just to move your ruler and take 1 inch outside on a border, and that's how you are going to get another 5.5 inches line on the same time. Okay, so while you already have straightening up your fabric, especially net fabric is hard to straightening up, so I guess that's an easy technique to do. As you can see, we have two different lines, so I just gonna use the same technique on all over this border because this is the huge big flow fabric, so it's gonna take time. Once I finish the marking my fabric, then I will be back and show you the next process of cutting. Okay, so our all fabric is marked up, but before start cutting, I want to give you another great tip if you are especially beginners. If you notice, our marks are just showing on the painted area, okay, the velvet's painted area, but not on our actual netting fabric. Okay, so for that tip, you can even use a cold tape, okay, and place your ruler wherever you want to have your mark, okay, and just use that tape. I'm just gonna show you a little bit also, you can have some idea. Even for marking your fabric for cutting or for the hemming, that will really help straightening up your stitches as well if you are a beginner. Okay, so that's another great tip to use. You even can use this fabric tape to make your hem fold. You don't need to stitch on or do anything because it's a net. Okay, but we are going to stitch first. We just going to cut our fabric. Again, I will say I don't like to use rotary cutters on these adorable fabrics because you don't want to take your chances. Okay, you have to have a full patient, confident, grab your scissor and cut those fabrics. Okay, so here we are almost finished our cutting, and we're gonna do the exactly same. First we're gonna make our stitches check in using on the same fabric. I will just use here, but I'm sure if you see that they also have a straight stitch, so that's gonna work out on a hemming as well. So okay, so let's head to our sewing machine now, but simply we're just going to same method as we had used with our lining fabric. We are just simply going to fold it and stitches, okay, 1/4 inch fold exactly on top of our line. Okay, just take a one fold and then fold. So we have a two fold, and we're just going to pin up, or you can use a clippers, okay, whatever you have in your hand. So I just gonna pin up and then we will start sewing. Okay, so the here is our fabric fold and also ironed. Now it's ready to stitch on the top. But the tip I want to give you, never ever use a directly presser or iron on top of your fabric. I had to use this a cotton cloth, and we just place on top and just iron on top of this. That's how we protect our fabric. And the second tip, here I have a experiment 3 different stitches. So the in my single quantum style is 9960. I have used stitch number 8 and stitch number 6, which work perfectly. But because if you see that we have a velvet patches upside, so these stitches are very heavy. If I wanted to do, if I only had a net fabric to fold it, there was a different case and we could use those stitches. But since we have the velvet patches upper and we don't want any damages on those stitches, so I am gonna stick with the only straight stitch, and we're gonna do our hemming. So let's head to our stitching part now. And as you can see, we have did this prom dress net fabric hem so professionally. If you get inspired by our today's sewing project, please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe and share with your family and friends, so I can continually hit more subscriber and keep continually sharing all those wonderful projects over my channel. If you want to get shout out to your small YouTube channel from my YouTube channel, you have to just follow simple steps. You can subscribe me on a YouTube, get comments and likes so I can see you are a regular subscriber. You can follow me on Instagram and also on Facebook. if I see your channel really do have potential, I will definitely gonna pick your channel and give you a shout out. Stay tuned. God bless you all. I love you all and have a lovely fabulous day. Bye bye.